Hi, friend. Since you guys want to know what it is like slow travel in real life that nobody talk about, and also how we afford slow travel 90 days in Da Nang, Vietnam without being rich. So far we have been to Thailand, Vietnam, and Singapore. This year, Malaysia. In this video, I'm going to share with you our experience on these three countries. We choose to travel during the winter month because up here in North Sweden, we have around 6 months of winter. The extreme cold month is between December to end of March. Another reason why we are traveling is because we are not getting younger. I am turning 60 this year. If I'm lucky, I could have another 10-20 years to live if nothing happened to me or my health. And for my partner, is much shorter because he's already 71 years old this year. While we are still strong and still walking, we decided to go for a long trip like that so that we get out of our winter, go to somewhere where it's warmer, and hopefully we will learn something from the new country that we visit. In Sweden, during the very cold month, you need a lot of energy, a lot of electricity to heat up the house. On an average, we need around $35 to $38 to live with a roof under our head. We don't freeze, we eat just normally. And compared to Vietnam, it costs around $26 per day. I live in a hotel. I do not need to clean the room, and I get to eat out 3 meals a day. People look at travel. They find travel information on social media, on YouTube, on Instagram, and you often see people, oh, this is really beautiful, this is what I eat. But in real life, it is not all that. Let me just briefly go through, those three countries that we have traveled and made some comparison. So you have a rough idea what are the pro and the con on each country. First, let's start on with Thailand. We went to Phuket. It is a very beautiful island because that was the first country that we start slow traveling. I also noticed there is a visible adult entertainment industry in this area, and while that's part of the economy, I realize it makes me feel so uncomfortable being there long term. And this awareness helped me to choose destination that better match my value and energy. One practical things I want to mention in some tourist area is transportation price can be unclear. We had one tuk-tuk ride where expectation didn't match reality, and it was a reminder to always confirm price and route clearly before the ride starts. And if you've been to the restaurant, you will realize that the tourist price and the local price, it's quite a big difference. As a slow traveler, we don't usually like to eat on those places. We try to avoid that. And we usually like to walk into the village to a more quiet area where local people live, and we'll eat our meal there. It is not only authentic, it's much cheaper, and the vibe is totally different than the tourist area. Our goal was to create a calm, peaceful lifestyle and to improve our health. And then we chose Da Nang because it has this beach life vibe, and along the beach, there are a lot of free gym that you could use. And we felt like it was the right lifestyle for us. And during these 80 days, we learned to explore Da Nang. My aim was to try to get rid of my weight by walking. We noticed that people in Da Nang are very chill. They are very social, friendly, and very helpful. A few times we realized people trying to communicate with us, not because they want to scam us, but they just are curious. I remember we went to this market. There was this lady coming up to us because she saw that we were struggling with the language with the seller at the market. So she tried to step in and help us to translate. So you will come across people like that who just, come out of nowhere, and if they know the English, they'll try to help you. We didn't feel threatened. We didn't feel like people are scamming us. The only thing is the communication. We wish we learn more of Vietnamese so that we could communicate with them. But during our stay there, I managed to get hold of one friend, which is also a YouTuber. You might have seen her in one of my videos here in my channel. So we became friends. She's lived in Canada her whole life, and we collaborate. We meet 1-2 times for coffee, just talk about life, which was really, really nice. The expat community in Da Nang is very strong. They meet like once every week or twice a month. They do have like a Facebook group where they integrate local people and foreigners to learn language from each other, which is so good. I wish I could have gone there, but I don't know why we didn't have the time, and probably because when we are in this low traveling mood, we have our routine. The minute we woke up, we have our breakfast in our hotel room, and then we will just take our time, because daytime is very, very hot. So we will not do so much in the day, just chilling out, reading the local newspaper from Sweden, and also me, trying to edit some of my video before we go out. And usually we like to buy a big packet of lunch, and then we both share. It's like a buffet where you select what you want to eat. You pay according to what you pick. The one thing I noticed about in Vietnam is the food is considered much more healthier, because I noticed they hardly eat any meat. Most of the meals consists of a big bowl of salad. So salad in Sweden is very, very expensive. We can buy like a packet, just a small packet for 50-65 grams. It can cost up to $3-4. I get to eat a lot of vegetables and a lot of herbs, and I even bring back the seed to try and plant it here in Sweden. We usually bring the lunch with us to the beach, and then we eat it there. And there are so big variety where you could choose from. So every day we literally eat like 5 different types of dishes. It's between $3 to $5. And for dinner, we usually like to treat ourselves a little bit better over weekend. Weekday, we try to keep it simple. We will usually go to our regular favorite store where we literally eat almost the same food, because Vietnamese food, there no doubt there are varieties, but we try to stick to those food that we like to eat. They are cheaper and they are easy. Then the amount is not very much for dinner, and we felt really satisfied. Only on the weekend we will go to maybe a better restaurant, sometimes buffet restaurant, or reputable type, or it's recommended by Google. Sometimes you can't really trust Google too, because sometimes Googles are those people who may be buying, reviewer to review the company's product or the services. So I don't really rely. So sometimes you have to go around and then you see, there's a lot of local people, must be good, right? So that is something that we learn also. Sometimes we have to trust our instinct. Some food may look very delicious to the local people, but it's not as good for us. We have taken public transport once or twice in Vietnam, Da Nang, but we usually likes to walk because we walk from places to places, and that's how we get to know. But the public transport there is extremely cheap. It's like it costs nothing. And what we do is that we take one bus from our hotel, and then we will find, there are different number. We don't care. We just take it and then we go right to the end, and then from the end bus station you will come back again. Maybe the same route. But then you get to see to the left side of the perspective and then the left side when we come back. So transport on Grabs is also extremely cheap. So sometimes from the city, if we are too tired to walk back, so we will just call a Grab, and it costs just $1 or $2 to come back from the city back to our hotel. If you have problem walking, get a Grab. It doesn't cost you anything, and you can get from point A to point B like within 10-15 minutes the most. We try to walk between 8, sometimes 10, sometimes even 20 kilometers per day. There was one stage I hurt my kneecap because I was walking on this uneven sidewalk in Da Nang. They don't have like proper sidewalk unless you're going to the beach area. But on the suburban area or in the city, their sidewalk is being blocked by motorcycles, so you have to like walk around it. And when you're walking around it, because the traffic there is so congested, you have to be aware of, when you are turning your way out to the street, make sure you look carefully before you continue. And I think the hygiene there for garbage is not very good, because they throw their garbage in those bags. Sometimes those bags leak and then it stink. So I don't know how they're going to improve on that, and I wish there are better solutions for that. Sometimes when the weather is hot now, it shines onto those garbage, and then sometimes you can see rats around there. It's quite scary for me because I'm not used to seeing that. Being a Singaporean myself, I noticed the price of hotel there is so expensive nowadays. The reason why the hotel is so expensive because Singapore is such a small country and our population is like 5.6 million, and we don't have enough place for building new hotels. So that is why the hotel is so expensive, and usually they are built in high rise. The one thing that is still affordable is the MRT, the metro. It's still very cheap. Taxi is expensive, even though the Grab, is quite compatible to the taxi. Slightly cheaper, but not like extreme cheap like in Da Nang. One thing really good is that if you buy any electronic product in Singapore, you can claim GST. I bought my camera last year, the DJI Osmo Pocket 3. I get about $77 back at the airport just before I leave Singapore, which is really, really good. If you're buying something expensive, you have to ask them whether or not you can get the receipt so that you could claim GST. So they happily help you with that. About food, the cheapest, best food is actually at the hawker center. Food court is slightly more expensive. Hawker center is cheaper because they are operated by grandmother, grandfather. But nowadays the newer generation is also coming out to sell food and become food vendors. But the food price is still cheaper compared to those restaurants. So I suggest that you eat at the hawker center if you are looking for a cheaper alternative and better food. What I don't quite enjoy down there is the amount of people everywhere you go, especially places where there are attractions. Always a lot of people, and especially those places that you can go for free. Singapore is known for food and shopping. Shopping is not getting cheaper anymore, unfortunately, unless you know how to go to the right place and also what kind of things that you want to buy. When we were having meals in the hawker center, it just make my heart sing when I see some very, very old people still working at the hawker center, clearing tables. Sometimes I ask them, Auntie, how old are you? And they said, oh, I'm coming to 90 soon. And in Singapore, 90 and you're still working, at their age, they should be resting at home or maybe go on some traveling to see the world. And again, I see that also in Da Nang, and I'm sure in Thailand too. But in Da Nang, we saw them like going around with this big plastic bag to collect those bottles so that they could sell them away for money. It just breaks my heart when I see that, and I wish I could do something about that. When we travel, you somehow see a different side of the world that you don't get to see. You being getting out of this comfort zone here where we live in our home, warm, toasty, and we have food in our fridge, to places where people hardly have a proper meal. As we were slow traveling in Vietnam, I mentioned that we do a lot of walking, and during those walks, we go to those village, those side lane, side dark alley where people live, and we look at the conditions that they live, and sometimes we don't get it, like you come in and then you see the kitchen, everybody was like sitting on the ground and enjoying a meal, talking. Sometimes they were like drinking, a lot of drinking during your Chinese New Year, and a lot of karaoke. So, which is really nice, you get to learn about their culture, how they live, their living conditions, how their house look like. Another thing slow traveler might not talk about is the loneliness. I think loneliness is up here. You can be among a lot of your friends and you still feel lonely. You can be yourself in the nature and don't feel lonely. Being a slow traveler, me and my partner, we felt like it doesn't really affect us so much because in Sweden, we go to our friend when we have the needs to talk or, to catch up. So for us, we don't really feel that. But for people who are used to a very tight family connection or their friends, they have a very high need to meet their friends like 2-3 times a week. Maybe they might feel the pinch. For us, we like to rent a bike because the bike rental is really, really cheap there. It's like $10 you could rent like the whole day and you could explore. But I wouldn't suggest that you ride a bike if you haven't done this before or don't have a proper international driving license, because you need that. If you don't have that, you will get fined quite heavily. Sometimes when we go out to the night spots, we see a lot of drunkard tourists. Some of them Russian, and we see some English people also all wasted on the street, and they still try to get onto the bike. It can be a bit risky, like if you're going out on the night for a walk, try not to go to those night spots area. and make sure you are lighted, you have reflect, because some streets they don't have lights. I heard that there are a lot of retired people. They go on slow traveling full time. Some people they could do that because maybe their home in back home is less expensive to maintain, so they have like savings and excess money to spend on slow traveling. I heard also there are some older people, they sold their house, everything, and then they go on to this like the world round trip, full-time traveling. Seriously, I don't know how this will work for me, because for me, I felt like I still need a home base, a home to come home to feel like, okay, I'm back. Summer here is very comfortable. It's between 25 to 28 degrees Celsius. If you're lucky, you get 30, some weeks. How can we afford, right, this kind of trips for 3 months? Our Da Nang trip and Singapore trip cost us approximately $5,000. This 5,000 for last year, 90 days in Da Nang, 80 days and 10 days in Singapore was possible because we follow through, our budget. We are quite conscious about how much we should eat every day. Etiquette was a bit expensive. That is unavoidable. The area that we stay in Da Nang is very close to the beach. So for our hotel, I think we paid like $14 a night, and we are just about 150 meters from the sea. For food wise, we try to stick to our budget, like, because Da Nang is very, very cheap when it comes to food if you eat locally. And we don't really shop a lot, the only thing that we buy is eggs and some bread and butters and a lot of fruits for our breakfast. $5,000 is US dollars. Divide by 2 is around 2,500 for each of us. So if you have that 2,500 and you could save up to that amount every year, then maybe you should try this slow traveling. Let's say 1 year you only have like 14 or 21 days holidays, and then it could stretch up to 3 weeks. It's still as good. But instead of going to so many places, you only focus on one area and build your base from there. And try to live like the local people. If you are traveling alone, it's easier for you to get new friends. Other people who travel alone probably will come and connect with you. If you stay in a hostel, which is not only cheaper, but it's also a greater opportunity for you to meet up with friends. Because people on the hostel, they usually like to do things. They are more on the community kind of mindset, that they do things together. They book groups together so they get a better price. And when you share your transport, it also saves you a lot on your cost. I have seen people who prefer to stay in hostel because not only know new people, maybe you will find some like-minded people there, or if even better, soulmate. That there are sites that I use that helps me to get a better rate in air tickets and accommodation and attractions. I'm going to put up all the link again here in this video so you can go check it out. There are eSIMs working on certain phone only. If your phone is too old, you probably have to check with the eSIM company. But I think nowadays eSIM is very, very efficient. Like for us, if you are going to different countries, like for us, Malaysia, Singapore, and previously we have Vietnam, Thailand, Singapore, you only need to have an eSIM on your phone. then you don't have to pay like each country you enter a new eSIM card. Because sometimes I notice most of the time we overpaid on that. So it will be good if you paid only the amount that you use. The more you use, the more you pay. The lesser you use, the lesser you pay. And I have a link to that also. You can go and check it out. If you have a credit card insurance, make sure also to check with your credit card company whether the insurance protects you. If anything should happen to you, to what extent, in terms of accident, in terms of, if your rented car is crushed, you don't have that money to pay for the repair, what happened. And I think all this is very, very important if you have a good insurance that covers everything. Like on a bike, you might fall off in your bike and hurt yourself. Or you may be swimming in the seawater and you're being attacked by the box jellyfish, for example, and you may need treatments in hospital. So all these are things that you want to make sure that you are covered so that you don't have to worry about all these costs and things that might happen. If this is something that you seriously considering about, I suggest that you can start planning already now, until next year. Try to set aside amount, like let's say if okay, maybe I need around 3,000 or 2,005, like us. Like for 90 days, for shorter one, you probably don't need so much. Vietnam is a very good place to start off because they are really, really cheap. Places are really quiet and the only thing is the traffic. If I were you, I'll probably do that. And $200 a month is not that difficult. If Da Nang is your ideal destination, I have a few videos where you could watch. Do check out that playlist. I'm going to include them in the video description or on top here. We will be packing our bag and I hope I can do a video. We are thinking about wild camping in our Malaysian trip. So I will be packing my bag differently and I hope I could document it in a vlog form. If you enjoyed this video, give a hype. Share this with somebody who might find this is quite interesting. And I hope to see you in my next. Have a great weekend. Bye bye. No more tea.